Well, it's moving toward 7:30 this morning, and I'm recording this showing literally what my perspective is. Who am I to comment on much of anything? Sitting here before the day gets terribly warm. As a follow-on to comments about Kissinger, it's true that Kissinger probably will not be given the kind of accolades that he might otherwise sustain in his lifetime because of Vietnam. But he was the linchpin indeed for what I think of as the last simple success of U.S. global foreign policy, economic policy. Really, the facts probably will only emerge later about how important he was in terms of China's relationship with the rest of the world. And of course, the Chinese leadership was amazing back then. But really, Vietnam was probably the last most terrible expression of what can be thought of as the mentality that the Dulles brothers represented, what they were up to lingered for decades, and what some parts of the world think of as the imperialism that characterized decades, beginning near the end of the Eisenhower administration in terms of public awareness, and continuing through both President Bush and his son's presidency, the second Bush. The confused policy was most stark with Vietnam, and Henry Kissinger struggled with that, and there seems no end to any of that. That continues right up till today. Today is June 4th, 2018, a Monday. This month, I have a very sad agenda. But before I move on to that, I just thought I would comment some more about really what I think is the world's agenda in terms of dealing with the deep state that is a global phenomenon, most obvious in terms of the United States. You might say, it's simplistic, but you might say Vietnam was a terrible expression of all that, and all of that has lingered in complicated ways. And many states now deal with their own brand of what some think of as the deep state. And sometimes I think we ought to round up a bunch of people in the U.S. and send them to Brussels, to the NATO headquarters, for some kind of attitude adjustment. But I guess that's too sardonic for any number to appreciate. But you see, my perspective is no better than outside my kitchen door here in Aniana. And so people can discount what I have to say, but even so, after all is said and done, really the implications of what Kissinger and his counterparts were able to do in some ways are obvious, but in other ways have yet to be fully understood. And Kissinger probably will never know that there are those who might thank him. I'm sure in some circles he is assured of a great deal of gratitude, but for many, his struggle in Vietnam will be all they ever know. Well, anyway, as you can see, I don't have much of a perspective on anything, really. So maybe it's true. I ought to just shut up most of the time.